RTX 2080 and 2080 Ti, and also the 2070, basically the 2000 series cards, codename Turing from NVIDIA. You guys wanted me to go deep, and today we will be going pretty deep. I'll be splitting this into 3 parts, in fact, as I am still in the dark about any inside information myself, so I only know as much as anyone else out there, given the current information we have at this moment. So these cards were announced in Germany just this Monday, and after that there has been a big storm about the whole pre-ordering and really what has been displayed or put out there so far with performance. Anyway, today's video, let's talk about performance. The first thing, the most important topic for a gamer, the biggest question on display here, how will these new cards perform? Well, to be blunt, I believe these cards will perform quite a lot faster than the previous series. That is, these will be much more than a refresh. Turing is a new architecture at the core and also benefits from a node shrink going from 16 nanometer to 12 nanometer plus from Pascal to Turing. Raw gains in current titles are looking like they'll see a boost of roughly 30 to 50% over their previous predecessor, and here is where things get tricky, as NVIDIA themselves have shown a slide showing such performance gains, but have also released data in the way of how the cores inside the RTX series itself works, now utilizing what NVIDIA calls tensor cores with a technology called DLSS, or deep learning super sampling. This essentially is a smart AI that helps smooth an image and hence allows for a greater performance gains in terms of frames per second. And at least with DLSS enabled, some games are reported to be achieving over double the FPS over the previous 1000 series counterparts. Impressive if they can achieve this in popular multiplayer titles and also RPGs. Though how many titles will mass adopt this technology, and also what about titles like the recently released World of Warcraft expansion? Are they going to utilize the new RTX series to its full potential? This remains to be seen. Though of course with these kind of sudden performance gains being announced, and yes, we have waited over 2 years for the 2000 series cards, of course comes an increase in price, and we'll talk about this more in depth in part 3, but basically they now currently have these cards listed in at $1,200 USD for a pre-order for a RTX 2080 Ti Founders Edition. Comes with a 285 watt TDP, 18.6 billion transistors over one of the biggest dies implemented on a consumer graphics card to date, and also a new custom dual blade fan cooler, which honestly looks pretty clean. I'll leave the final judgment of course until I see one outside of the matrix, though I believe it's 1900 AUD here in the magical land of Australia. NVIDIA have stated that this card will be released on September 20th, which is when the founders cards themselves will be released, and they'll be available from $1,000 from the board partners. This is a starting from price as well. That's guys like Asus, EVGA, Galax, etc. So we don't actually know how much the 2080 Ti variants from the board partners will cost exactly, but they also have the RTX 2080 with an $800 pre-order price tag and from $700 retail pricing after September 20th, and the RTX 2070, which is yet to have its release date confirmed, though speculation has it at sometime late October, and that will have a pre-order price of $600 and from retail pricing of $500. So ultimately, this is a significant boost in pricing to what we are used to having seen on a flagship Ti single die solution. However, we have 4,352 CUDA cores on the RTX 2080 Ti, up over 20% over the 1080 Ti's 3,584 cores, and 2,944 cores on the RTX 2080, up over 15% over the GTX 1080's 2,560, and lastly 2,304 on the RTX 2070, up over 20% over the GTX 1070's 1,920 cores. Though it is important to note that we can't compare these core counts directly as an indicator of performance, since they are a newer architecture. They will most likely be more efficient in that the amount of compute power available per core is more than that of the previous 1000 series cards. Though for clock speeds, they look to be roughly around the same levels, though one interesting observation this time around is that the founders cards will actually have an increase in speeds over that of the board partner cards, perhaps enticing people to buy directly from NVIDIA rather than going through the retail board partners like Asus, etc. The last important feature to note is that the RTX cards will now use GDDR6, which has significantly more data throughput available than either GDDR5 and also 5X. So memory bandwidth per se shouldn't be a problem. So how well do these cards ultimately perform? Well, this also segues into part 2, and that leads us into marketing much higher prices than what we are used to, and also why the name changing from GTX to RTX. Well, to answer that first question, and also why I believe we'll have a much higher performing card this time around than the previous generation, is that firstly, because there are many points, it creates new value in a market where there otherwise was none. Essentially, NVIDIA is creating a new market for themselves and also for the consumer. And this in itself, I believe, is the reason for the name change to RTX from GTX. If they had called it the GTX 2080, for example, then people would think it's nothing more than just a performance boost. So this way, RTX allows the opportunity for people to research what is different, and in ways allows NVIDIA automatically to justify the higher price tag. Whilst people are researching this brand new card, NVIDIA is ultimately showcasing their new technologies and getting free marketing and what I believe will be high performance for raw gamers. Though, why the new market? I thought about this last night quite a lot, and it struck me almost like Gaben had come down from the heavens and showed me the light. Now, this is only my opinion, but I believe this series of graphics cards was actually a contingency plan enacted in case of a flailing cryptocurrency demand, which for NVIDIA, I believe we have seen a worst case scenario that could have happened, with GPU mining literally falling flat within the span of a few months. Not only do they have a lot of 1000 series cards still on hand, but they also have to compete with disgruntled miners that bought tens, hundreds, and even thousands of cards at a time that no longer have a need for these gaming graphics cards and hence can't compete with the ramp up of ASIC miners. So they are selling these cards in an attempt to recoup some of the money they initially outlaid. So the RTX series as a contingency plan for cryptocurrency catastrophe actually makes a whole lot of sense, at least to me. It goes above the whole field and also allows people who can't afford the new 2000 series cards to seriously consider the now lower priced 1000 series cards. So NVIDIA have clearly accounted for this and now have in place what I would call a great business plan, one that enables them to dominate. However, let's move on to part 3, the big one. Should you pre-order? And I'm going to preface this firstly by saying you can do what you want to do with your money. Ultimately, it's your decision. I'm not going to tell you what you can and can't do, though I will give you guys my thoughts and opinions. And of course, there is certainly a lot of for and against type arguments here, though let me say the against first so I don't cop much hate in the comments. We don't know how much the performance of these cards is exactly just yet. We've only seen a graph and some fancy demos. The enthusiast performance numbers we wanted to see were very vague, and we don't have a direct comparison per se to the GTX 1000 series cards. You know, the direct apples to apples screen comparisons that even amateurs with Bandicam know how to cap for their first time. I'd like to see some solid performance figures and more side-by-side comparisons of the cards with FPS numbers at the same settings across a variety of resolutions before pre-ordering a product. Though this is now the 4, I would hazard a guess that NVIDIA is going to deliver. Why? Well, it comes back to the name itself, NVIDIA. Jensen loves his company. It's not just a company to him, it is his rock star child. He wouldn't put a product in a position where it is not going to impress, that would lose loyalty, that would hurt people on a personal and financial level, and that could potentially make a burn that could leave scarring. NVIDIA does not want this, and hence this is why I believe ultimately the RTX 2000 series cards will deliver. Though lastly, what if you are the guy who wants to pre-order one of these cards? I mean, honestly, so what? I know guys that waste tens of thousands of dollars modding cars. What's $1,200 for something that is going to give you months and possibly years of entertainment, and in my opinion, some of the best entertainment you can get? That's coming from a PC gamer. That is a service that no one really puts a price tag on, and what is that extra performance, extra features, and ultimately better experience going to mean to you? Is it worth $1,200? Is it worth $800? Is it worth $600? Is it less? Is it more? Well, that's up for you to decide, not for me. I'm not going to tell you what you can and can't do with your money. So if pre-ordering is a thing that you want to do, then go ahead and go get yourself one. Of course, me personally, I would wait just to see the exact performance figures. I believe these cards, even if you miss out on day one with a pre-order that's sold out, you'll still be able to get one in a month's time. But regardless of that, I will have day one coverage for you guys here on the Tech Yes City channel, so stay tuned. Don't forget to hit that like button if you enjoyed today's video. Also, let me know in the comments section below, do you think NVIDIA is going to deliver with the 2000 series? Also, what do you think this whole pitch is about? Love reading your thoughts and opinions as always, and I'll catch you in another tech video very soon. Peace out for now. Bye.